That's right. Today we're going to show you how to make some homemade yeast donuts, and Lexi wanted to put on her donut pajamas in honor of making donuts. Let's get cooking. Alright, so let's get started. What should they do first, Lexi?
Always get your parents' permission if you're using the stove or if you're cooking by yourself.
Right, and what else should they do?
You should also make sure that you have a clean space so there's no any little cookies like you make cookies.
Right, and clean hands, right?
Yeah, like me.
So the first thing we're going to do is we have here half a cup of warm water, and I have used a thermometer to make sure that it's around 100 degrees.
Yeah, which is that one over there.
Yes. And then what we're going to do is we are going to add in 2.5 teaspoons of active dry yeast. Or you could just use the packet. 2.5 teaspoons out of the jar is the same as their packet. The recipe calls for instant or regular. If you're using instant, no need to proof it in the water ahead of time. If you're using regular like me, which is what I always have in the refrigerator, then you need to let it sit in the water for a bit. So there's one. Wait, let me get the next one out. Okay. Ooh. There you go. 2 and a half. Good job,
That's
Lexi.
a lot of yeast.
So then, basically, you are going to let that sit and proof in the water for a bit while we are getting the rest of our ingredients together. So we'll set that over off to the side for now. And this is my bowl attachment for my KitchenAid mixer. And so we're going to put everything else in there for now. So basically,
Don't forget to plug in your mixer if you're cooking so the battery won't die.
that's right. So the next thing we need is evaporated milk. Evaporated milk comes in a can like this. Evaporated milk, and you want to make sure and shake it up well, which I already did a little bit before. And we are going to add in 1/4 cup of evaporated milk. Okay, Lexi? So you're going to hold this, and I'm going to pour in the milk, and then you... And I just made a hole in this is what I did at the top instead of opening the whole thing, because I don't need the entire can right now. So basically I just made a hole for pouring, and then I made a small hole on the other side, like with a bottle opener that has a point on it, to make the air pressure the same so it would come out easier.
Whoa, that's a lot of it. That's a lot.
And then I'm just pouring a little bit. We're going to need a little bit more for the glaze later, but since you don't need the whole can, then you can save it in the fridge once you've opened it.
That's a lot, Mommy.
All right, you can dump it in there. Great job. We also need a little bit of salt, okay? We need 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Let's see. Which one says 1/2 teaspoon? Which one says 1/2? That one, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna take out, and you're gonna dump that in there. Okay.
I got
Good job.
it. Okay.
Now we need 1/4 cup of regular sugar,
Yeah.
which I have right over here behind the camera.
These are gonna be sweet donuts. Whoa, that's a lot of sugar. These donuts are gonna be sweet.
Yeah, we don't eat like this all the time, do we? Special occasions we're making a video, but trust me when I say we don't eat tons of yeast and dairy and gluten all the time. Okay. Then we also need 1/4 cup of Crisco. Where did my Crisco go? Crisco is just vegetable shortening. Instead of butter, we're using Crisco. It just gives a better texture and flavor to the donuts. I know, not great, but hey. So we're just going to dump that in there. Help me.
Okay.
Whoop.
Whoa.
That's why you wear an apron, isn't it?
Yeah.
Then last but not least, we are going to add in, back in this, our yeast mixture. And then we're going to add in our 2 large eggs. Okay. You want to crack the eggs? So you're going to crack the egg, and then you're going to crack it into this bowl. There you go. No, in this bowl. Just in case there's any shell. Great job. Let's see. And no shell. Great job.
I did it. And don't forget, you
So you
always
can-
have to have paper towels around here and to make sure you gotta wipe your hand after this.
Okay. Can you dump it into the bowl?
Sure, yes I can.
Great job.
So don't forget the other one. I gotta do the other one all by myself.
Okay.
This is my leg. Here you go.
And this one. You're getting there.
Yeah, they're gonna
Keep going, keep going. Let's see. Look at that. No shell, Lexi. Great job.
Now I need to wipe my hands again.
Mm-hmm. Put it in there.
Yep, and I go on to this.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah, that's okay. That's the part of making fun of cooking.
That's right.
Yeah, and don't forget, there's more messes over there.
All right. Now all we're going to do is put this on our mixer with the paddle attachment to combine it.
Yeah.
And then when we go to add the flour, we're going to switch to the dough hook.
Yeah, the hook.
As I was putting the mixer on the stand, I remembered that you also need a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla.
Mommy forgot.
So we're adding that in too, aren't we?
Yeah, and I'm helping you.
Ooh.
Vanilla is sweet. Vanilla is sweet.
Yes, it's that sweet flavor you can't get from anything else. All right, now we're going to go ahead and start mixing. So now that we have the liquidish ingredients and the sugar and whatnot combined, it kind of looks like this.
Yeah.
And so now at this point, we are ready to add the flour. And it can take 2.5 to 3 cups of flour. It does look kind of gross. So we're going to add the 2 cups now, and then we're going to add the last by, little increments. And you basically just want to add enough flour until it pulls away from the side of the bowl and it forms a dough ball that's wet but not super sticky or tacky.
Yeah, so it won't stick onto my hands.
That's right. All right, there's 1 cup.
1 cup into
Well, that's half a cup.
half a cup.
Here's
Another half a cup.
to make 1 cup. Yep.
Need to make 1 cup. And another half a cup. Ooh,
Yep.
it's so flat.
Yep. And then another half a cup. So that's 2 cups in. We're going to switch over to our dough hook attachment, not our paddle attachment. And we are going to let this form a ball. All right, our dough is all done. Here it is, Lexi.
Whoa, it's so big, you guys.
It is big.
Smells right there.
So I am going to spray
Whoa!
a large bowl with non-cooking or non-stick bake spray. And we are going to
Put it in there.
add this into our greased bowl. And then we are going to put a little plastic wrap over the top and leave it in the kitchen to rise. And it needs to rise about 1.5 hours. You want it to be pretty big in size
Yeah,
because you're going to roll it out pretty thick because you want nice, light, fluffy donuts.
It's kind of fun to play with.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's wrong.
All right, you want to help me put the plastic wrap on?
Oh, so tight.
Here, wait a minute. There we go.
So
And then right before we seal it up, we'll give one last spray to the top of our dough and the plastic wrap to make sure it doesn't stick.
I like this though.
All right. So now it's time to let this rise and clean up some of our mess so we can get ready to roll out the donuts. All right, we are back. It has been 1.5 hours.
Yeah, and then it finally worked.
You can see the dough is now taking up the entire bowl. It has doubled in size. It's nice and poofy. So we have got a little mat down here, and we are going to roll out this dough to 1/4 or to 1/2 inch thick, just kind of depends. And first thing we're going to do is...
We got some flowers on the hands and the mattress.
That's right, roll up your sleeves.
Yeah, because I don't want to get my unicorn pieces. And don't forget our hands. So it won't stick onto our hands. We always had to put flowers on their hands too as well.
Yes. Go ahead. Grab some.
I got flowers.
Very good. Some for me too. So now we both got flour on our hands and we have floured our work surface.
Yeah.
So we are going to
and
dump
guess what, guys?
the dough right out onto our floured work
And guess what,
surface.
guys? If you don't use flour, it will stick onto your mattress and your hands.
To the mat, yes, not a mattress, to the mat.
Yeah. Sometimes it goes.
Alright, so let's spread that out a bit. Alright, there we go. Whoa, that's enough. And then I'm going to add just a little bit more in the center where the dough is really sticky. Alright, and here we go. Then we are going to sprinkle flour over the top.
Yeah.
And now we are going to make sure that each of our rolling pins are floured. We have 2. One for Lexi.
Yeah, which is somebody sent us this little cooking game that I recognize this is like.
And then 1 for me.
Yeah, this is my real rolling pin. When I was a little baby, I used to.
All right. All right, here we go. Help me. Put your hands on it now. We're not going to go super duper hard, okay? You don't want to go too hard because we're only going to do this so thin. We want it 1/4 to 1/2 of an inch thick. So let me go sideways here. And then we are going to cut them out.
Yeah. Yeah, and also gotta use my real rolling pin as well.
Yes.
Yeah, which is my rolling pin, and I get to do it by myself. Because it's my little rolling pin.
All right. Grab your rolling pin.
My rolling pin.
And you're just going to go gently across the top, okay? Go ahead. Good. We are going to cut out these donuts. You have to have a round cutter, and then you need a cutter for the inside. I don't have a small cutter because I don't normally have a need for a small cutter. So this is actually a shot glass that my husband and I picked up on our honeymoon to Rome, Italy. And so it's just the right size to do the center of the donut. So we're going to flour these up, and then we are going to cut out our donuts and leave them on this wire rack over here. Actually, I'm going to line the wire rack with a little bit of nonstick foil.
Yeah.
So that way our donuts and our donut holes will go on the wire rack.
And broccoli, and I think some other ones that I don't remember.
Alright, so this is the part of the video that Lexi does not join me for because we're going to be using hot oil to fry the donuts. So I'm going to make the glaze while the hot oil is heating up to temperature, and you want it 350 degrees. So Lexi won't help me fry the donuts because I don't want her anywhere near hot oil in a pan where it could splash on her. So basically you're just going to take regular old vegetable oil, and you are going to pour it into the bottom of this until it's at least an inch or 2. You need at least an inch in the bottom. Alright, so to make the glaze, it's actually really simple. All you need is 2 tablespoons of melted butter into the bowl. You need a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. You need 2 teaspoons of your evaporated milk from before. And it calls for a pinch of salt, but I'm barely putting any in there because I use salted butter. So I feel like you're getting your salt that way. And then you're going to add the powdered sugar to this liquidy mixture. So I'm going to kind of whisk that together. And then I'm going to add this 1 1/3 cups of powdered sugar in, a little bit at a time. And And then I'm just gonna whisk it. And then the last thing you add is the water, and it basically, you thin it out then to the consistency that you want for glaze. You don't want it to be dribbling off the donut, but you don't want it to be super thick either. So I pretty much got the glaze done, and you kind of wanted this consistency where it's a little bit thick, but it's falling in a ribbon, so it will stay on top of the donut, but it won't like make a gloppy mess all down the sides. So now that we've got this glaze ready to go, you can glaze and eat your warm donuts. Oh, that's the best, eating a warm donut. All right, so we have our oil heated up to 350 degrees. We let our donuts sit about a half an hour, and as you can see, they have puffed up in size. You don't want them to get super puffy, so just letting them rest about a half an hour will allow them to proof a little bit, but you don't want to overproof them either. So half an hour is about the perfect amount of time. And then what we're gonna do is you're gonna be super careful because this is hot oil, and you are going to drop the donuts into the hot oil, and you do not want to overcrowd the pan. And they will sink at first, and then they will float. And you can hear the oil. I like to put in usually about 3 at a time. That's easiest. And the idea is that you're going to cook them until they are golden brown on one side, and then you're going to flip them. And if you've ever wondered where that white ring around the edge of the donuts comes from, it's from cooking them. When you flip them, the other side will get golden brown, but there's always that little edge center that doesn't get that golden color. So basically, I've got a spatula on standby here, ready to flip these. Always flip them away from you if possible. You don't want to flip them towards yourself and potentially splash oil on yourself. This is why I did not want Lexi here helping. So these have floated to the top. And so I'm going to start checking them to see. You want them pretty golden, so they're just starting to turn brown. Perfect. And sometimes it's good to do a test donut or two just to make sure that you got the middles all the way cooked. So I went ahead and flipped this one, and as you can see, it was golden brown, so I flipped it. Gonna check my next one, and you can see that it's golden brown on the bottom, so I'm gonna flip it as well. And then my last one seems to look golden brown, so I'm going to flip it. And then while I wait for them to cook on the other side, I already have my wire rack lined with paper towels. So as soon as these are done cooking, then I will put them on the paper towel to drain. And then when you've done all the donuts, you can do your donut holes. And then all that's left is to glaze them, and Lexi's gonna help me with that. We are ready to go. Our donuts are done, have come out of the fryer. They're still warm, but they've cooled enough that we can handle them. And I've got our glaze ready to go.
Yeah, it's called frosting.
Well, in donuts, it's actually called glaze, but I suppose you could call it frosting. We call it frosting the donuts, not glazing the donuts. So basically, as it sits there, it will get kind of thick and get a hard shell on the top, which is what you want because that's what it does to donuts. So basically, we are just looking to stir this back up, and I kept stirring it every so often, and you want it to fall back in a ribbon over itself, and it's ready to go. So basically, I'm going to show Lexi how to frost one, and then she is going to do them. So you're going to pick up one donut,
Okay.
and you are just literally going to drop it in there like that. And then you are going to let the excess drip off. And then there you have a perfectly glazed donut. And we're going to stick it back on the pan so the glaze can dry. All right. So drop it in there. You gotta drop it in there this way. Okay? We are all done glazing our donuts. So I told Lexi she could have one, and we had one of these donuts that were smaller, just her size. There you go, kiddo. What do you think? Is it delicious? You never had a donut before, I don't think, have you? Was it good? You're giving it a thumbs up. That means it's good. All right. Yay. I'm so glad you like the donuts. Like I say, we don't eat like this all the time, but it's nice for a special treat every once in a while.
Yeah.
So what do you want to tell everybody?
Subscribe and hit the bell if you want to see more of my videos with me and my mommy. Hit the subscribe button and don't forget, hit the bell button.
That's right. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.